ગ્રાઉન્ડ ફ્લોર નો ઇન્ટરનેટ એવું છે સેમ છે ઉપરનું નીચે તો એવું કરે તારું કરાય દઈએ આ તો કરી દઉં
Mumbai is quite chaotic,
Oh,
quite sad at the moment.
I know.
It's quite bad. Yeah.
Because entire healthcare is crash, and I think even public have not taken care of wearing the mask and everything, and plus everything was taken granted. Because I just talked with my sister yesterday in USA, everything is normal there. Even these kids are going to school there.
Yeah.
Out of 20 cases or 25 cases, hardly one is corona positive. And
Yeah.
by May end, entire population would be vaccinated.
Vaccinated. Yeah. That's the thing.
So that is what we will like to even urge, like you can urge to our students also to take a vaccination, because there are so much of apprehension. Even the citizens of India are having towards the vaccination,
Yeah.
and the kids. So we are now taking that forward drive
Yeah.
of vaccination. Okay, just remove all the apprehension. Really, the things are going to be good unless and until you are not vaccinated. So if
True.
you want to, take a front foot in getting the normalcy, vaccination is must.
Is important.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
True. True.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's 4:02. Shall we move ahead and start the session, ma'am, with your permission?
I'm ready. Yeah. I'm ready.
Perfect. Thank you, ma'am. Thanks.
So, Mrs. Varsha Patel is very close to her, so she was giving her regards. She said it's her brother's institute.
Yeah. So sir, Bhikkhu Bhai sir is a mama for Harsha, a
Yeah,
Varsha man. Yeah.
she sent me a lot of pictures of
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. So yesterday we got foil, like we tell her a foil. So Varsha foil has forwarded the message that Purna's best friend, and because it's a family group, they have put this template.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. That's really sweet. The world is small, right? Yeah. I think Priyal, you should now carry forward
Sure, ma'am. Yes,
the
yes.
presentation, so
Yes.
we can manage the time nicely. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. So, a very good evening to everybody present with us today. Let me start it by saying a quote that everything has its beauty, but not everyone sees it. So, beauty is basically the confidence a person has. Beauty is spirit. Beauty is power. Stemming from fairy tales to pop culture and modern India, the physical expectations for beauty have become increasingly skewed in one dimensional. There is a problem because everyone wants to feel that they are beautiful in some way. And when the standards become so difficult to keep up with, a large percentage of people are going to feel bad about themselves. They say that beauty begins the moment you decide to be yourself. And that's why, whenever an idea of such a beauty becomes distorted, it is important to take a look back and what it truly means. Beauty is not something that is always seen. Beauty is to some degree subjective, and it is important that we don't take everyone else's opinion at a face value. We should look to discover what we find truly beautiful, whether that be in art, in people, or in nature. I, on behalf of B.N. Patel Institute of Paramedical and Science Paramedical Division and B.N. Patel College of Physiotherapy, managed by Sardar Patel Education Trust, gives me an immense pleasure and privilege to welcome you all on the expert talk on skincare routine and acne in association with Skinfinity, the aesthetic skin and laser clinic. Moving ahead with the event, prayer is raising one's mind and heart to God or requesting of good things from God. As it is always said that it is true that a prayer that comes from heart can move mountains. It increases faith and brings you closer to God. So I request you all to join us for the prayer. Thank you, everybody. Speaking of the Sardar Patel Education Trust has a team of enthusiastic, young, and dedicated and innovative teachers. The institute, under the trust, continues to grow, and they have carved a niche for themselves within the span of their existence. The trust mission is to equip the young boys and girls with versatile development of their personalities and making them strong morally and emotionally, spiritually, and physically. Moving ahead, BN Patel Institute was established in the year 2010 for reinventing healthcare education and to render career opportunities in allied health. Our institute provides various medical and academic facilities. BN Patel Institute provides finest education in paramedical health science and in India. And hereby, we help students to spread their wings and strengthen the theoretical as well as practical knowledge in respective fields of specialization offered by our institute. Moving ahead, it's my pleasure to invite Dr. Arpita Arora ma'am, Group Director of BN Patel Institute of Paramedical and Science, Paramedical Division, BN Patel College of Physiotherapy, and BN Patel Institute of Nursing to welcome our speaker for today's expert talk. She has truly been an amazing director and a wonderful human inside out. She is a lady with superpower and an inspiration to many young girls and women empowerment. Ma'am, over to you.
Thank you, Prival, for the wonderful words.
You're welcome. You're
Yeah.
welcome, ma'am.
And before we start the introduction of the guest, I would like to give the introduction of Shri Bhikhubai and Patel sir, who is a managing trustee and secretary of Sardar Patel Education Trust. And the various positions he holds at the various organizations are, he is even a member of governing board of GLS University, Ahmedabad, which was established in 1927 and one of the esteemed university of Gujarat. He is the Secretary General of Global Sport Federation established by United Nations. He is the Chairman of NRG, Non-Resident Gujarat Center Anand, a service provider for NRIs and NRGs. He is on the advisory board of Six Sigma Group Delhi, which helps in managing 360 hospitals across India. He is the president of Gujarat Tobacco Merchant and Growers Association. He is a spokesperson for ITC. He is a chairman and co-committee member of Senior Citizen Federation of Gujarat Region, Ahmedabad. He is a prominent educationalist, a sport enthusiastic, a philanthropist, and the words are less. He is the son of a soil who has done a lot for this Charotar region. We even welcome Shri Bhikhubai and Patel sir for today's talk. I hope sir is online and hearing the words that we have spoken for him. We welcome you, sir, on behalf of BN Patel Institute of Paramedical and Science. And now it gives me immense pleasure, and it is truly our honor to give the introduction of Dr. Jayashree ma'am. Before that, I like to say that we had a wonderful prayer which narrated health for all. So I wish health for all, for the students, teachers, and all the stakeholders who are present for today's talk. A very good afternoon, everybody. And I pay my due respect to Dr. Jayashree ma'am for accepting the request to address our institute students on skincare routine and acne. If I have to narrate her in just one sentence, it would be a person with magical hand and heart of a gold. So, ma'am has been a renowned personality and internationally recognized cosmetic dermatologist practicing in Mumbai since January 2000 and is founder of Skinfinity Aesthetic Skin and Laser Clinic, Mumbai, India. Dr. Jayashree ma'am is a mentor for the American Society for Dermatologic Surgery International Traveling Mentorship Program, and it is really a proud for all the Indians that such doctors are available in India. She is also on a board of director of International Society of Dermatologic Surgery. Dr. Jayashree ma'am has been the executive board director of the European Society of Cosmetic and Aesthetic Dermatology from 2009 to 2013. She has been the Vice President of Cosmetic Dermatology Society of India from 2010 to 2017. She is Associate Editor of the Journal of Cosmetic Dermatology. She is editor-in-chief of a textbook on cosmetic dermatology called Aesthetic Dermatology Current Perspective, published by JP Medical Publisher India. She has authored 2 award-winning bestsellers named as Skin Rules and Skin Talk. Thank you, ma'am, for gifting this wonderful book on skin rule. I've really read it. The one who have the queries of the skin should read this book. It's really fantastic and available on the Amazon. You can buy them. Both books published by Penguin Random House, launched by Sri Amitabh Bachchan. She has written around 50 chapters on pills, toxin fillers, microneedling in various textbooks of aesthetic dermatology. Dr. Jayashree ma'am is a key opinion leader for neuromodulators, soft tissue augmentation, lasers, radiofrequency, skin tightening, microneedling, and chemical pills. She has delivered over 300 lectures at national and international conferences since 2006. Dr. Jayashree ma'am is a recipient of the Rising Star at the World Congress of Dermatology in Vancouver in 2015. She has been awarded Best Celebrity Cosmetic Dermatologist of India in July 2020. She was honored as one of the 50 outstanding women in healthcare sector at the World Health and Wellness Congress, Mumbai 2017. She was crowned Best Skin Expert at Vogue Beauty Awards as well as Elle Beauty Awards. She has been awarded India's Most Admired Beauty Expert in Medical Profession at the 4th Annual India Leadership Conclave in 2013. We welcome you, ma'am, on behalf of B.N. Patel Institute of Paramedical and Science and B.N. Patel College of Physiotherapy. We are living in a digital world, and I tell all the students as a digital citizens who always want world, and madam is going to share all the nuggets about the skincare at today's event. We welcome you, ma'am, and we are truly honored to have you on today's talk. Moving further, without wasting time, we'll start our Q&A session. Can you show the slide for the question and answer so madam can address the questions which were submitted by the students? So number 1 is how to wash the face without the face wash, because there are so many things now available in the market. Ma'am, can you please throw some light on this question? Thank you.
First of all, thank you so much, Dr. Arpita, for inviting me here. It's such an honor. And, I have once again had the opportunity to have, to speak to all of you here. And it feels really nice. Thank you so much. And that introduction was clearly not needed. It was too elaborate. I think my PA sent it to you, but thank you so much for that. Skin, as Dr. Priyal rightly spoke about, she spoke about beauty and how essential it is to be beautiful on the inside as well as on the outside. And when we say beautiful on the outside, it just does not mean having some, sort of fixed features, which people think, oh, large eyes or a sharp nose or etc., etc. No, if you have clear, blemish-free, even-toned skin, which is radiant, it oozes confidence, and that's what we should all aim at. And we should not aim at looking like somebody or aping somebody else, but being what we are, and always being true to ourselves and being happy on the inside as well. Now with that, yes, I did see a lot of questions that you had sent this morning. I said I'll take them as they come. So your first question is how to wash your face without soap and face wash. All right. Why would you want to wash your face without soap and face wash? Yes, definitely. You should not be using soap on the face, because when you sort of use any kind of soap, it alters the pH of the skin and makes the skin more alkaline, and it tends to dehydrate the skin. So my advice would be, definitely do not use soap, but it would be good to use a face wash at least once a day. Cleansing is a very important step, when it comes to skincare, when it comes to your routine. So in the morning or at night, at least once a day, if you have normal skin or dry skin or sensitive skin, you should wash at least once a day. And if you have oily skin, then at least twice a day. So cleansing is very, very important. Now, there are various types of cleansers available in the market. Those who have normal skin, you don't have to worry. But if you have, oily skin, then use something which has salicylic acid in it, something which has grapeseed oil in it, or glycolic acid in it, tea tree oil. So all these will sort of reduce the oil on the skin. If you have acne prone skin, you could opt for salicylic acid because it is lipid soluble. It dissolves the sebum, which is that cheesy material which comes out of the oil glands, and it deep cleanses. So at least use that once a day. And if you have sensitive skin or very, very dry skin, then you have to use absolutely soap-free, lather-free cleansers like a Cetaphil cleansing lotion or a Sebamed olive. So these are the various types of cleansers. Now, coming to your question as to what if you do not want to use a soap or a face wash, then you can take besan, or you can take oats, or you can take, you can make a powder of rice. Rice has very good exfoliating properties. Or you can take masoor ki dal, that is the red lentil. So once you take any of these and make a powder out of them, you can add a little bit of water or a little bit of aloe vera and gently massage your face. So you go in upward strokes like this and cleanse your face, apply it, and then you rinse it with water. So that is how you do it without a soap or a face wash. Ma'am, can we remove the questions and you ask the questions, so that becomes easier than a little distracted when you have just questions on the screen? You can have maybe, us all on the screen and not have the questions. So it just gets easier.
Yeah, sure. We'll do the needful.
Yeah.
Very rightly told about oily skin and normal skin. One has to be very cautious about picking the product. But about the face wash, now even the clothes are available in the market. Would you like to throw some light on that, ma'am?
Yeah. So there are a lot of. There are a lot of. Can we have the audience or all of us on the screens? It's just easier than I'm like talking to all of you rather than talking to a screen. Yeah. So I can see all of you. It feels like, okay, I'm talking to some people. Right. So so you do have Clarisonic brushes available, then you have sponges available, you have washcloths which are available now. And, then of course there are these loofahs, etc., which have been available. Washcloths are softer, and, you can use them if you typically got a lot of makeup on your face and you want to remove the makeup. It's easier to use a washcloth. It's soft. You get those muslin cloths, and you get these other, a little bit of woolen cloths. So you can use any of them. But in my opinion, your fingers and the fingertips are the best. And everything else is like a marketing gimmick. Yes, there's no harm in using it. You can go ahead and use it. And typically around the eyes, it becomes very difficult when you have heavy makeup around the eyes. So if you use a washcloth or a muslin cloth, it's a little easy. But for the rest of your face, I think God has given us hands, fingers. Just use the fingers.
Thank you, ma'am. Moving to the next question. How can one fix uneven skin tone? Because we Asians are facing a lot of pigmentation and all issue. So major of the public are having uneven skin tone. How can we resolve that?
Yeah. The thing is that most of the Indians, all of us, we have what we call skin type 3, 4, and 5. So we fall into this category, and we tan very easily. we hyperpigment very easily, you know. So one beach holiday or one hike and we just tan, or and when you eventually do a couple of hikes or a couple of beach visits, or you know, a couple of shopping sessions, you tend to hyperpigment. So it's exceptionally important that, you know, you always protect yourself from sunlight. So people think when you are indoors, you do not need a sunscreen, which is a big myth. Because when you're indoors, you know, you are still probably getting exposed to UV light, because UVA, okay, 70% of UVA penetrates glass. So if you have large glass windows, then you are getting exposed to UVA. A lot of times we have, you know, balconies and, you know, we have terraces and we don't realize, and we keep going out and in. Then you have visible light, you have infrared rays, you have heat from the gas, and then we have the blue light. Okay, all of us are getting exposed to blue light from our laptops, from our television screens, from our phones, right? And of course, a lot of the smartphones now have the blue light filter, which you can use, and it just doesn't look nice because it sort of darkens the entire screen, but otherwise you can use that. So blue light causes adequate amount of hyperpigmentation as well. And therefore, you need to use a sunscreen even when you're indoors. So that's rule number one. Not all sunscreens are equipped to protect you from infrared rays and blue light. So typically sunscreens which have iron oxide are very good, apart from, you know, physical and chemical sunscreens. So you also should be using antioxidants, vitamin C, vitamin E, ferulic acids. You get them in the form of serums, and you also get them as supplements. And you can have both. You can take vitamin C tablets, you can take vitamin E tablets, you know, 1000 milligrams of vitamin C, 400 international units of vitamin E, and serums which are available, which you know, have vitamin E and C in them and ferulic acid, and you can apply that in the morning. So that's the other way to you know, protect yourself from not getting an uneven skin tone. And even if you have uneven skin tone, start doing this. So in the morning after you've had your shower, you apply the serum and then you apply the sunscreen. If you have dry skin, you first apply the serum, then a moisturizer, and then a sunscreen. So this will be your day routine. Now at bedtime, again, you cleanse. And then there are a lot of creams which are available, which have vitamin C, kojic acid, arbutin, licorice. You know, these are all skin lightening agents which are very safe. And make sure you don't go to the pharmacy and just ask for, you know, a triple combination skin lightening creams. A lot of you are aware of it, because triple combination would mean a steroid. So it is either a fluocinolone or a betamethasone, or, you know, any of these, hydrocortisone. And that is the red flag, because, you know, you will most certainly develop a little bit of brightening of skin initially when you use a triple combination, because there's hydroquinone and there is a steroid. But eventually your skin will become thinner and more sensitive, and it will hyperpigment with a bang. And if you use hydroquinone for a very long time, you could develop more pigmentation. So there is a condition called euchronosis that can happen. So you've got to be a little more careful as to what ingredients you're using. And of course, you can always take the help of a dermatologist and use this cream, you know, at bedtime. There are serums available in the market these days. Everybody talks about niacinamide serum, which is vitamin B3, vitamin C, of course. Then you have an AHA, and you know, you have retinol. So you can use any of these serums also if you have uneven skin tone. Now, do not use all of them on the same day, right? So you can use a C in the morning and a glycolic acid on alternate nights. You can use, if you want to add retinol, if you're above 35, you should add retinol, and probably do a retinol once in a week. So this kind of a routine, if you follow, you will be able to combat a lot of your uneven skin tone. And then there are these sinisters, which I say sinisters for hyperpigmentation: sunlight, stress, sugar, smoking, scrubbing, any kind of any scent. So I call it, because it starts with an S, so I say scent, because that's any perfume, any fragrance, right? And I don't know if I said smoking, and swimming during the day. So these are the things that you have to avoid if you have uneven skin tone or if you have hyperpigmentation.
Thank you, ma'am. I think balanced diet and use of fruits and vegetables are really helpful for a good.
Sugar should be avoided.
Yeah.
Sugar in all forms should be avoided, because and that also includes, too much of sugar in fruits. So one mango a day is great, because mango is very rich in beta carotene and vitamin A and antioxidants, but you can't have more than one, because then again, it's a lot of sugar.
Yeah, thanks. And great, you told that one has to be literally cautious for OTC, over the counter products that are available in the market, because I think this generation are following the influencers on the social media, and every day those influencers are coming out with the paid partnership, which is even good for their profession. But one has to be literally cautious when you're using any product on your face. So thanks for sharing this daytime and nighttime routine. That really will be helpful for the students who have got this information about the product. Moving next, because even I faced that issue, because I never knew when to use the moisturizer and which age is the right age to use the moisturizer. So why it is important to use a moisturizer, and when should you moisturize your face?
So I think, from the time a child is born, we are moisturizing the child, because we are doing a lot of oil massage, right? And that is nothing but moisturizing. And I think moisturizing is one of the key steps to skincare. Now, our skin has a 28-day cycle whereby the epidermis, the lowest layers in the epidermis, come to the surface in 28 days. We all know that. The upper stratum corneum does not get its moisture from within. So even if you drink tons of water, the stratum corneum is not going to get its water. It gets its moisture from outside, and from whatever oil that is secreted by the sebaceous glands. So if you are in a dry environment, or if you're in a cold environment, or if you're in the AC all the time, or if it's too cold and your heater's on the time, your skin will get dehydrated. And as we age, also the lipid barrier layer in the skin starts to degenerate, and the cell cycle increases, and so there's a lot of thick cell, dead cell accumulation. So all these things will increase the dryness as we age as well. Hence, moisturizing is very important. And if you ask me at what age, I will say from birth. We Indians have started the tradition from birth. So why do you want to stop the tradition of moisturizing? And I would say moisturize your entire body at least once in a day. Now, those of you who have oily skin, or if you have acne prone skin, and you say, oh my God, there's an oil factory on my face and I do not want to moisturize, fair enough, do not moisturize in the day, but at least at bedtime, use something light. Now, these days we're very fortunate, we've got gel-based and water-based moisturizers, in the market, or we have hyaluronic acid serums, we have hyaluronic acid essences. So you can use any of these to moisturize your skin if you don't want to use the heavy creams. So that's typically for people with oily skin or acne prone skin. People with dry skin should moisturize twice a day. People with flaky, sensitive skin should moisturize at least 3 times a day. So that goes. And as we age, typically females, the estrogen level is dropping, and perimenopausal and menopausal, age is such that the skin turns to get really dry. You scratch and you can actually write on your skin. It looks like as if you've written in white chalk. So you do need to, double moisturize, use something which has shea butter, use some butter. So use some thick stuff. Oils will do, any of the coconut oil, almond oil, somebody said turmeric oil, jojoba oil, hyaluronic acid. Any of these ingredients will do.
So I think it is really great to moisturize your skin, as Madam told. That would be really useful to have a healthy skin. And ma'am, what is the best way to handle a sensitive skin? Because we live in an environment which is polluted, like the water is also not that good. It is an hard water. So how we can handle the sensitive skin?
Yeah. So I think first of all, what is sensitive skin, right? So it starts from there. A lot of times people come to me and say my skin is very sensitive, and when I ask them what happens, they say, oh, I get pimples whenever I apply anything. That is not sensitive skin, that is acne prone skin. Okay, so sensitive skin is skin which breaks into a rash, at the drop of a hat. So anything different in the environment, if there's if the climate has changed, or if you've applied something different, some new cream you've tried, or some new clothes that you've tried on, some new fabric that has touched your face, a new linen, a towel, or whatever you've used. If you get a rash with that is sensitive skin. A face wash, a soap, or whatever, and you get a rash, or the skin turns very dry, or the skin turns red, or it burns, or it itches, or you get patches on the face, that is sensitive skin. So getting acne or pimples or whiteheads is not sensitive skin. That is acne prone skin. So first of all, one has to get that clarified, because a lot of times people have that misconception. So coming to sensitive skin, rule number 1 is do not use any kinds of soaps. Do not use face washes. Typically face washes which lather, you have to stay away from them. A lot of times people feel, oh, but we don't feel like we washed our face if we don't use something which doesn't lather. But no, if you use something that lathers, your sensitive skin will again, double up and become even more sensitive, because your skin doesn't have the ability to, retain moisture. The third thing is, so you have to use something like as I mentioned at the beginning, a Cetaphil cleansing lotion, or a Sebamed olive, or a Uriage creme levante. So there are a lot of these soap-free cleansing lotions that you must use, and don't wash more than maybe once a day. So that's also important. Do not scrub if you have sensitive skin. No exfoliation, no AHAs and BHAs for you. What you can use, somebody asked me and said, somebody said, oh my God, but there's so many serums available in the market. So if a person with sensitive skin wants to use a serum, what do we do? Because you're saying no to retinols, you're saying no to anything. So I'm like, okay, what you can do is you can use a serum which has polyhydroxy acid in it. So there are, for example, Dot & Key has a polyhydroxy acid serum. SkinCeuticals has a polyhydroxy acid serum. So that is pretty much safe for sensitive skin. No steam, sauna, scrubbing for people with sensitive skin. Always make sure you moisturize, and moisturize at least 2-3 times in a day. In the day, you can use a light moisturizer. At bedtime, use something which is heavy. So, and do not try anything without asking your dermatologist. So that's again very important. Even your home remedies. A lot of times I've seen people use lime, lemon, yogurt, tomatoes, potatoes, cucumber, all these will harm sensitive skin. So sometimes even these natural products, I know of somebody who's very allergic to aloe vera, and people use aloe vera all the time. So you've got to always do a test patch, maybe behind the ear, and then wait, apply the product, wait for about half an hour, wipe it off, see if you don't have a red rash, then you try it on your face.
Yeah. Thanks, ma'am, for sharing all the information on the sensitive skin. Now coming towards an acne-prone skin, how can one prevent the acne, and what are the reason behind it? Because many girls who get an acne get more of the anxiety because they want to, go this acne off, and sometimes acne are the best friend for the person like me. So if you can tell us how we can prevent the acne.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, this is like a big, huge chapter by itself. It can just go on and on. It is such a prevalent thing, and it is not just a teenage disorder. A lot of times people live in this misconception that acne is synonymous with teenage. Well, it's not. You can start developing acne at the age of 9, 10. I've seen acne at the age of 8 as well. And it can go on through your puberty, through the teens, and it can actually go on till you're 45 to 48. So I know of a lot of, and statistics now, there's a recent study in 2017 which showed that 38% of adult females between the age group of 30 to 45 suffered from acne, and 28% of men in the same group age group suffered from acne. So it's no longer a teenage issue. Okay. Now, when we talk of acne, what is acne? You have 4 grades of acne. What people say blackheads or zits or whiteheads are grade 1 acne. Grade 2 are when they become pustules, these little pus ones, they're grade 2. Then you have grade 3 acne where they're slightly larger, what people generally say pimples. And finally, you have grade 4 where you have a lot of big cysts and you have nodules. So that is grade 4. So they're all acne, right? Then why do they happen? Basically, it's an inflammatory disorder of the sebaceous gland. And it can happen due to an underlying hormonal imbalance in the body. So either puberty or, some hormonal imbalance or menopause, bad lifestyle, sleeping late, taking a lot of stress, not eating right, having a lot of sugar, having a lot of dairy, these things will result in acne. And the other variety of acne is when you apply an oil-based or a cream-based or product on your face or even on your scalp, your pores can get clogged and you can develop acne. So these are the 2 different types of acne. People with polycystic ovarian disease, people who are on steroids orally, or people who need to apply topical steroids can also, people who are taking isoniazid, for tuberculosis can also develop acne. So there are also, medicated reasons, iatrogenic reasons why you get acne. So how do you prevent acne? All these causes that I have enlisted, you have to try and eliminate them one by one. So number 1 is diet. So eat a lot of greens. I always tell patients Karela and Dudhi, and they're like sitting and literally about to cry, but those are really great. Spinach, bitter gourd, green gourd. These are, and all kinds of leaves, methi and stuff. They're amazing if you have acne. What you need to, and have a lot of citrus fruits, and do not have a lot of sugary fruits. What you need to really avoid is sugar in any form. Now, when I say sugar, oh, doc, I don't have sugar. I have date sugar. I have coconut sugar. No, but that's sugar. Whether it's dates or coconut or it's, jaggery. Oh, but it's pure jaggery from my farm, but it is sugar. Do you understand the chemical formulation? And a lot of you are from the pharmacology, background, and you guys know that it's all sugar at the end of the day. So no sugar is sugar. You have to stop all kinds of sugar. That's rule number 1. And then again, dairy. Both sugar and dairy will increase your IGF-1. It's a hormone, like insulin-like growth factor. And that increases. And when that increases, it sends stimuli to your sebaceous glands to secrete more oil and sebum. And that results in like excessive sebum, and then your normal microbiome will multiply. And the Cutibacterium acne, that's the microorganism which is sitting quietly there, that will start multiplying because there's so much food for it in the form of that sebum. And then it's a burst of acne and pimples. So why do you even want to get into that space? So you must not have anything to do with dairy. Occasional fermented dairy is all right. So occasionally buttermilk, occasionally yogurt, occasionally paneer and cheese are okay. But don't drink milk, okay? Especially slim milk. Don't have, anything, any sugary product. Milk and sugar is a lethal combination. So all cold coffee lovers and all smoothie lovers and all lovers of milkshakes, ice creams, chocolates are going to be sitting there and cursing me today, but you've got to just stop having them if you have acne. There's nothing like avoiding or having a cheat day, right? So that's another thing. Food with high glycemic index. So pizzas, burgers, fried food, fried potatoes typically should be curtailed. I mean, you can have your cheat days, but don't have food too often. Food with high glycemic index should be avoided. Make sure you have about 3.5 liters of water. Avoid all the aerated drinks, colas, Coke, whatever. You must avoid all of them. That's about the food. Then comes the sleep. Now, some of them come and say, Doc, I sleep at 2 o'clock and I wake up at 2 the next day. So I'm like, that doesn't work. There is a particular circadian rhythm that you have to follow. Even our grandparents, I shouldn't even say ancestors, even our grandparents were sleeping back in the day by 10 p.m. or 9 p.m., having their dinner by 7 and sleeping by 9 or 10. And that's how it should be. And today's day and age, people will sit and laugh at me if I say that. So I say at least sleep by 11 p.m. So following your circadian rhythm for your hormones to function normally is also very important. Then comes exercise. So exercise is not just a stress buster, it's also extremely important for maintaining your weight, because if you are obese, again you may develop insulin resistance, and again you will develop acne. And finally, it also improves your blood circulation. So at least half an hour of exercise every day. And then another big culprit is stress. So any form of stress. Oh my God, I have my big birthday party day after tomorrow. I shouldn't get a pimple. Bang on, usi din ek pimple aa jayega face pe. So that is stress. You are actually, thinking so much about it that your cortisol is going to, supply is going to increase. And when your cortisol hormone increases, obviously the sebum secretion will increase, and then you're bound to develop acne. So stress is another big culprit. Meditate, do yoga, do pranayam, paint, dance, do Zumba, sing, whatever it takes to de-stress, you must do. So that's another thing. Then do not layer your face with thousands of products. 10-layer skincare program, 12-layer program like the Koreans. You're only clogging your pores and worsening your skin. So please don't do that. Arpita ji really talked about this in the beginning, where she said, there are so many influencers who are, talking about so many products, but, what is the authenticity behind all that, So please do not do that. I mean, if you have acne prone skin, you've got to use water-based moisturizers, you've got to use water-based sunscreens, you've got to make sure you don't use anything that has oil in it, avoid serums, you can use essences instead. Your face washes have to have, as I told you in the beginning, glycolic acid, tea tree oil, grapeseed, salicylic acid. So this is how you maintain your face if you have acne prone skin. And finally, of course, if you have mild acne, you can, probably apply 2.5% benzoyl peroxide, alternate nights. But if you have, if you have pustular acne, you can try using an erythromycin or a clindamycin gel. But anything beyond that, please consult with a dermatologist, because you may need oral medication as well. You may, or please get your vitamin D3 done. A lot of times, if your D3 is low, your acne increases. A lot of times, if you have insulin resistance or polycystic ovarian disease, your acne increases. So for all the females there, please go and get yourselves tested for PCOD. That's also very important. And sometimes there is lean PCOD and you don't come to know. You may be very thin and yet suffering, and your periods may be absolutely normal, and you may still be suffering from PCOD, polycystic ovarian syndrome. So you may have acne, you may have hair loss, you may have hirsutism, which is hair growth on the body, and you won't even know. So it's very important to get yourself tested.
Yeah, fantastic, ma'am. You have just given in a nutshell so much of information, like how to one should have a good food, sleep, exercise routine to just cure the acne. And I think one should avoid touching the face also, which this, like all of us have a tendency, to pop out the pimples when it comes. So I think that would be also a criteria one has to take care to avoid touching the face. And can you tell about, because we all are living into this digital world, everything is like makeup, like everybody are now makeup fanatic humans. I'm saying every next day makeup junkies. Even they have a one foundation, they will have a 10 range of foundation. So can you tell something about how one can limit the makeup, and can it be helped in like at least reducing the acne on the skin?
Yeah, I think, since everything, it's such a vast topic, and you very rightly said, don't pop and don't squeeze, because once you do that, you may increase the chances of infection, and you may increase the chances of hyperpigmentation. Similarly, your phone covers, cell phones have to be clean, your pillow covers have to be clean, because all these are other reasons why, you get acne. Your hands have to be clean. A lot of times you tend to sit like this, without realizing. I tend to sit like this, so thankfully I don't have acne prone skin. But these are various reasons. Mask acne now, because a lot of people, we're either not cleaning our masks, or we're wearing cloth masks all the time, or we're breathing in and breathing out inside the mask. So a lot of the skin microbiome is getting, completely deranged. So these are the reasons. Now, when you talk of makeup, oil-free foundation, okay, oil-free water-based foundation, oil-free water-based concealer, okay. These are the things. So whenever you go to pick your makeup, do not use anything which is cream-based or oil-based or heavy, like a heavy mousse. These kind of things should be avoided. Opt for liquids, water-based liquids, opt for powders. So these are the two things that you have to keep in mind. A lot of times, you read the label. So the label itself will tell you that it's water-based and oil-free. And a lot of times they would have written non-comedogenic. So makeup that is non-comedogenic is the best. Now, what you should do is, you get a lot of tinted sunscreens in the market, so you can apply a tinted sunscreen. And if you have any kind of hyperpigmentation or blemishes, then over the tinted sunscreen, you can apply a little bit of liquid water-based foundation, and then just do a little bit of blush. If you have acne and you have blemishes because of acne, you skip the foundation. You just use a tinted sunscreen or lactocalamine, or you can even use a concealer which is water-based. So just use a concealer only on the acne blemishes, and then you can use a little bit of blush. So that, and focus on your eye makeup and your lip makeup, instead of doing too much on layering your face with so many other things. I think keep it very basic, keep it very simple, and make sure you are cleaning your makeup brushes and your makeup sponges at least once in a week. That's very essential. Make sure your foundations are, your date of expiry is checked. All the makeup, whatever cosmetics you have, check the date of expiry. Also, the product after opening, it's called PAO, and there is a date written there. So when you open a product, for how long is it safe to use that product? So that is mentioned in a lot of the cosmetics. So you read that and throw it. Eye cosmetics should be thrown in 6 months. We actually say 3 months, but I know most of us do not do that. So at least 6 months, throw your eye makeup. Face foundations, etc., throw after a year. Okay, lipsticks you can keep for up to maybe max 2 years. So just because it's a big bottle or something and it's lasting you forever, you can't keep using it. And you have to look at all these dates, and you have to make sure your whatever you're dipping into, if you're using a sponge and dipping into the jar with it, the sponge has to be clean all the time. So all these things are very important.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. I think when it comes to makeup, less is more. That's what madam is trying to tell. So just take that as a, carry home message for you girls who are here listening this talk. So ma'am has already covered how lifestyle and food affect acne. So we are skipping that question. Madam has covered that. So ma'am, why females are more prone to acne, and what are the treatments that won't dry out the skin? Because many acne treatments do dry out the skin. So if we can compile this question and ask to you, ma'am, can you please answer them? Thank you.
First of all, I would like to correct you on that. It's guys who get more acne, not females. So men have more sebaceous glands, more oil glands, and so they and their testosterone levels are obviously higher, which is why if you look at the ratio, guys always get more acne than girls, but guys are not bothered. Females are bothered. Even if there's one pimple, females get really jittery, and that's why it appears that females get more acne, which is a good thing. You must take care of your skin. And I tell guys all the time too that you guys have skin too, so you should be taking care of your skin. Now, how will your skin not dry up? By using, so if you are if you have severe acne, and if your doctor has given you a benzoyl peroxide or an adaphirin or a retinol, it is going to dry your skin. That's bound to happen. So what you do in such situations is avoid using, contrary to what I just said, where I said use salicylic acid, use glycolic acid, use tea tree oil. If you are on medication for acne, you may have to avoid all these. So then you use a soap-free cleanser, and don't use any milks. Cleansing milks will increase your acne, but use a soap-free cleanser. Use a water-based moisturizer. So even if you have acne-prone skin, you will still use a moisturizer. The L'Oreal's Hydro Fresh or the Neutrogena's Hydro Boost or the Laneige Water Bank, the Sebamed Care Gel, the Emollient moisturizer. So any of these can be used. The acne, OC gel moisturizer, the Episoft gel moisturizer. So many of these gel-based moisturizers will sort of prevent that dryness, and also make sure you have omega-3 fatty acids in your diet, or you have some supplements of omega-3 in your diet. So that way you will prevent the dryness that happens due to treatment which is mandatory for acne, right? I think pretty much that, because if it is mandatory, you can't help it. So you have to learn to moisturize, learn to use the right kind of face washes, and have supplements of omega-3.
Yeah, very truly said, ma'am. Good routine is
Sometimes I'm sorry to interrupt you there, but sometimes people cannot use an Accutane because either they're pregnant or they're planning. So retinol is not possible. Salicylic acid is not advisable. So in such situations, then we do certain chemical peels at the clinics. We do mandelic acid peels, we do lactic acid peels, which do not dry the skin, and they're very, very safe even during pregnancy, or even while the female is feeding the baby. So these are other things that can be done. We do cryotherapy. Dry ice is applied on the face to treat cysts and big pimples and nodules. So that's another way of not having your skin dry up and yet get rid of the acne.
Oh, fantastic, ma'am. You have just told various moisturizer that are available, which will be useful, and the treatment you told. But just wanted to ask you, what is the most effective treatment or a therapy you consider is the best for acne? And I will compile two questions, so we are not, misutilizing your valuable time. And what does the light therapy improve the quality of life for the people with acne?
Right. So, no, in my opinion, there is no one best treatment for acne, because you need to, first of all, find out what is, the cause for acne. Then what are the grades of acne? So does a person have blackheads, whiteheads? If the person has blackheads, whiteheads, the treatment is different. If the person has pus-filled pimples, the treatment is different. If the person has, so if it's only blackheads, whiteheads, only creams will do, and proper cleanups. If the person has pustules, then the person may need some oral antibiotic. It could be a doxycycline or a minocycline. If it is nodular acne or cystic acne, the person may need isotretinoin. If it is hormonal acne because of PCOS, the person may need either a hormone, or may need myoinositol, may need vitamin D3, so any of these supplements. If it is acne due to insulin resistance, the person may need metformin. So, there is no such one good treatment for acne. It's always, it depends on the type of acne. But the do's and don'ts, which I mentioned initially, are for all grades of acne. Okay. Now, when you talk of light therapy, it's a good thing you've brought it, because people love to use blue light, and it does reduce the acne, but only for as long as you use it. So it's not like a miracle thing, and for people and it's not like the only therapy, it's only an adjuvant. You have to understand that, which means only using blue light and not doing anything else is not going to cure your acne. So if you're using blue light, you also have to apply your anti-acne cream. You have to use the right kind of face wash. You have to make sure you don't have sugar, dairy, maida. So it is a holistic thing. And then the blue light will work, right? So I think one needs to understand that. And blue light generally doesn't help in nodules and cysts. It's more for, whiteheads, blackheads, and, tiny pimples.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. So, depending upon the type of acne, one must remember the do's and don'ts, and the therapy are different as per the individuals and their, particular reason of having the acne. And now, moving towards the next question, aloe vera is really a big heard name. And can it be used to cure acne in teenagers? Because every mom will tell, apply aloe vera, it will go. They have their home remedies to be given. So, can it be useful? How well aloe vera can be useful to cure acne in teenagers? It is
Uh,
a go-to product. Yeah.
so aloe vera is, it is a wound healer. It's got anti-inflammatory properties, which is why a lot of times when you apply aloe vera, if it is a pus-filled pimple or if it's a boil kind of a pimple, it dries up because of the anti-inflammatory properties. But not all acne will go with aloe vera. There is no harm in applying it if you're not allergic to it. There's absolutely no harm. My advice would be take fresh aloe vera from the plant. So take the gel, you break the leaf and take the gel and apply that. That really helps. Leave it on the skin for about, say, 15 minutes and then rinse it off with lukewarm water. Don't use hot water because hot water will zap the moisture away, but lukewarm water is very good, so you can use that. And I think pretty much that. So you can use tulsi or neem leaves as well. So make a paste out of neem and tulsi. They are also great as far as acne are concerned. If you have very mild acne, just some blackheads and whiteheads here and there, then you can even do that. But do not apply toothpaste on your acne because of course sometimes, because toothpaste has triclosan or baking soda or alcohol, these kind of ingredients, toothpaste can dry up the acne, but it can also cause a lot of irritation and leave behind a dark mark. So post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation is very common when you apply these kind of things. So so coming back to aloe vera, it's not a miracle wonder drug for acne. Otherwise all of us would be just growing aloe vera plants and just giving it to all our patients. It doesn't work that way. But there is no harm if you are not allergic to it. There is no harm in using it. It's also a good moisturizer.
Thank you, ma'am, for throwing the light on aloe vera. And I think that was a really very useful information you told. And one has to do an allergy test and then use any home remedies for acne or a hypersensitive skin. Uh, you have already talked about the supplements one has to take for a skin health. So, can you just tell further which skin adhesives and electrode gels typically cause more severe skin reaction during the long term wear? Because to treat acne is really a long process. So, which are the skin adhesives and electro gels typically cause more severe skin reaction during the long term wear?
But why would anyone, I don't understand this question. Why would anyone use electrode gels and, adhesives if you have acne? I don't think you should be using it at all.
Might be this question has come from the students, so they might have heard it or read
I
it
guess
somewhere.
I guess they should not be using such things because that will again clog your pores and give you more acne. So I would say no types, just don't use them.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Are there studies suggesting differences in skin microbiome profile in young and old human skin? Is there any effect on acne due to that?
Certainly, yeah. Skin microbiome plays a huge role, and it is a very recent, development where people are looking into it. Which is why there are a lot of creams which have probiotics and prebiotics in them, which you kind of use. And if you have in youngsters, the microbiome will be much healthier, and vis-a-vis the older people, again because of the dryness and the damaged epidermal layer in older people, and also the lower estrogen that happens as we age, typically in females, which is why the microbiome is not as healthy as a younger adult. But yes, if you abuse your skin by using tens and thousands of things on the skin, or exfoliating it too much, or using a lot of retinol or a lot of AHA or a lot of BHA, then you will, even in younger skin, you will play with the skin microbiome, and that is going to harm your skin. So
Okay, so we are able to wind up the session, but one last question before we wind up, because we are just taking care of your valuable time. How one can prevent skin aging and one can avoid wrinkles, because everybody want to be young till they die, right? So what is the secret of that, and your secret of a good skin care, we will like to know. So two questions we are compiling together.
okay. There are there are some two questions. First, I'll address that in the chat. Somebody has said how much SPF is ideal in a sunscreen lotion. So SPF is sun protecting factor, and it protects us from ultraviolet B. What you must look at is a sunscreen with both SPF as well as PA triple plus, which is a quotient for ultraviolet A. For Indian skin, an SPF of 15 is also enough. But knowing the fact that none of us use the right amount of sunscreen that is necessary, we say double up the SPF, and so use SPF 30. Why? Because the actual amount of sunscreen that a person should be using is 1 teaspoon, which even I don't use, honestly, because, imagine using 1 teaspoon of sunscreen on the face. So, which is why an SPF of 30, and this is the amount of sunscreen that one should use. This is the amount that I use on my face every day. So that and an SPF of 30 is enough. If you're on the beach or if you have hyperpigmentation, then probably you will need an SPF of 50. The second question here is, does minoxidil help in regrowth of hair? Or what might help? Yes, minoxidil is a proper US FDA approved solution. It is, which helps in hair regrowth. And if you have male pattern alopecia or female pattern alopecia, minoxidil is the drug of choice. Right. Now, coming to, ma'am, your question as to how do we take care of our skin so as to not develop wrinkles and look eternally youthful. So I would say skincare starts very early. And I, generally tell people that right from the time you are 16, you must start cleansing the right way, moisturizing, using a sunscreen. Because if you don't do this at that time, your skin starts to deteriorate by the time you're 30. In fact, you cross 25 and the skin deterioration starts. The skin's ability to fight the free radicals starts to deplete if your lifestyle is not good. So these things have to be kept in mind. A healthy diet, sleep, avoiding stress, avoiding alcohol, avoiding smoking, drugs, all these things will take you a long, long way and not give you wrinkles. Stress is a major factor for wrinkles and sagging of skin. Now, apart from that, once you are 30, I think we should include vitamin C serum in the 35, that needs to include a retinol. So a retinol maybe twice in a week. Now, retinols, tend to cause a lot of dryness and sometimes redness, burning. So apply very little initially, apply it only once a week, and then, gradually increase it. Once your skin starts accepting it, then you can increase it to twice a week or 3 times a week, but stick to 3 times. Do not do it more than that. So that's after the age of 35. When you're taking care of your skin, make sure you apply whatever you're applying on the face, you also lather it on your neck as well. So that's very important, because otherwise you develop wrinkles on the neck. Do not forget your hands and your feet. So that's again very important. And do not abuse your skin. So do not do too many things to your skin. So it is important to do certain treatments post 35, but at the same time, I would say that getting a facial done every 15 days, every month, or getting whatever it is not the way to looking youthful, right? So if you have, you know, if you have a tendency for saggy skin, genetically you see that, you know, there is sagging at an earlier age, or if your lifestyle has been very, very hectic or maybe not so healthy, then maybe you should go to a skin clinic and opt for a radio frequency skin tightening treatment, you know, by the time you're 30, 35. 30, between 30 and 35, I would say alpha hydroxy peels are the safest. 35 onwards, maybe radio frequency treatments. 40 plus, you can do high intensity focused ultrasound. So there's an age for everything. Don't start doing things at 25. I see 25-year-olds coming and telling me. Yesterday, there was a 28-year-old who wanted to do everything. I want to do HIFU, I want to do radio frequency, I want to do this. And, you know, sometimes it really, you know, irks me. I really get annoyed when I see all this or read all this, and it's not their fault, because, you know, it's all out there. People are trying to market their products, and we don't realize, and we just become slaves to all that marketing. But less is more, always remember that. Now, I am an international trainer for fillers and Botox. My passion is fillers, but I will still say only when necessary you do it, right? So at the same time, don't say, oh, I will do it when I'm 50 years old, or when I'm 55, or when I'm 60. By then the foundation has broken, so we can't do anything, right? So you must start early. Whatever it takes to, you know, keep your skin youthful, you must start, and you must keep doing it. Anti-aging creams in the form of resveratrol, coenzyme Q10, botanicals, coffee berry, you know, all these kind of things should be used once you cross 35. I think you should start using anti-aging creams as well. So I think that's the key. And then what did you ask me? Your last question? Sorry, ma'am, you're muted.
Yeah, your skincare tips, ma'am, to have a beautiful skin.
My skincare, my skincare, or the tips I've already given in this entire session.
Your skincare, ma'am,
My
because you have a beautiful skin. So once, like, we all want to know what is your skincare, you know, tips, and what how you take care of your skin.
I have stopped having sugar almost 10 years ago, 10, 15 years ago. I don't have alcohol. I don't smoke. I exercise 4 days in a week. I think this has been my routine for many, 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 many years now. I meditate. So I take care of all that, and make sure I have at least 4 liters of water a day. And then my skin routine begins with I don't do much. I do a face wash in the morning. My skin is sensitive, so I use a Uriage, the Creme Levante cleansing cream face wash. And then I follow it up with Sesderma K-Vit, which is an under eye serum actually, but it has vitamin K and it has hyaluronic acid. So I use that as a moisturizer in the day. I use it on my entire face, just about 3-4 drops. And then I follow it up with a sunscreen. So I use the Photoprotector Fusion Water by Isdin. That's been my favorite sunscreen for the last, I don't know how many years now. And so that's my day routine. I don't do anything other than that. At bedtime, again, however tired I am, I clean, you know, whatever makeup I have. I use the Sensibio H2O by Bioderma. I use that and I clean my makeup. And my makeup is very minimal. Usually when I'm, you know, you will see a video that I put up yesterday, I have no makeup. In the clinic, I have no makeup. But, you know, for maybe like now when I'm doing some Zoom, there'll be a little makeup. So I will clean that. Then I will use the cleansing cream by Uriage once again. And once in a week, I use a retinol. So I use the Obagi ZO retinol, and at night, and that's only once in a week, again, because I have sensitive and dry skin. And on the other days, I just use a light moisturizer. So it could be any moisturizer these days. I mean, you know, I get so many of these brands. So whatever is there, which is a light moisturizer. I can't use heavy stuff on my skin because I do have certain allergies. Unfortunately, I can't. I have to give away all the most expensive and lovely creams that come to me because I get a lot of I get different other complications. So, in the morning I wake up with a stuffy nose, and I wake up with a post-nasal drip and stuff like that if I use heavy stuff. So I use this hyaluronic acid which is by a French company called Esthederm. So that's what I apply at night. Sometimes if that is not there, then I would use Sesderma Hyal, because that's again something which is very light. I use a brow solution. It's called the Revita Brow, and it's a US based brand. And so I don't have color on my brow. So this is just the solution which makes it thick and black. So I do that. Whatever I apply on my face, I make sure I dab it under my eye. As it is in the morning, I'm using K-Vit. At night, I'm using hyaluronic acid as my moisturizer. And I make sure I have a moisturizer on my table, by my table, in the clinic and at home all the time, because I'm moisturizing my hands and legs whenever I'm sitting idle. So this is something, because now I'm 47, I am perimenopausal and my skin is really getting dry. So I must be doing this at least 4 or 5 times in a day, at least 4 times in a day. Apart from this, I think I have the benefit of getting a lot of machines and devices in my clinic since the last 20 years. So any machine that comes to my clinic, I have to be very honest, is tried on my skin, because I want to, not because I wanted, with the intention of, oh my God, I want to look younger. No, it's because I want to feel what it takes for that, if I make a patient lie down, how does the patient feel? So I am able to explain to the patient much, much better. It's a different thing. I have never probably done all the number of sessions. So if 6 sessions of radio frequency are required, I've probably done 1. If 2 sessions of HIFU are required, I've probably done 1. But I have done, I have in so many years changed machines in the clinic, and newer machines have come, and this laser has come, and that laser has come. And I think that has made a difference, because when you start early with all these devices and you maintain it with the devices, it does, you can delay the whole collagen breakdown, and you can help the collagen to remodel. So I'm a big believer of radio frequency and high intensity focused ultrasound. So you can start all that. And I think I must have started when I was 35. I do a glycolic acid peel on my face once in 3 months. I do an upper lip filler. My lower lip is anyway big. My upper lip is began to get thinner 3 years ago. And that's when I started looking in the mirror and injected myself. And one day my husband got petrified, and he just like, what the hell are you doing? And, and then he got used to it. He's like, okay, fine. She's doing her upper lip filler. Not yet done fillers on the rest of my face, but if I need at whatever age, I will. Yeah, so that's my entire skincare routine and my whatever treatments I do.
Thank you, ma'am, for sharing your, skincare daytime and nighttime routine. And as you told, like, less is more. And as far as you are concerned, we can never judge your age, because I was having a wrong notion about you might be in your 30s. So thanks for making us believe that age is just a number, and you have a lot of achievements. And we were like, thinking what we have to speak for her. She has done so much, and you are true inspiration for all the students who are present here.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and you believe in beauty lies in the eyes of a beholder, and you just focus on the holistic approach towards the beauty that's really touch our heart. And the ethos that you have towards your medical line, dermat line, is very rarest of rare people we can see. So it was truly honor, privilege to have you today. And in a nutshell, you are a doctor with magical hands.
Oh my God, thank you so much, Arpita ji. That's so kind of you, so sweet of you. I have to tell all the youngsters there that please do not look at social media and look at selfies. Selfies are distorted pictures. Do not look at celebrity photos. They're all, most of the time, they're photoshopped. Influencers photoshopped. Before and afters, even a lot of times doctors put up before and afters photoshopped. With due respect to a lot of them, I'm talking about people abroad. Some of my colleagues themselves have pointed out. So please, and then there are filters all the time, so do not compare and do not, try to emulate somebody else. Just be yourself and take good care of yourself.
Yeah, confidence is the best feature. That is what madam is trying to tell you. And I would just like to tell everybody, because major of people are not aware, ma'am is my dermat now. I had a very bad skin allergy and God knows, I changed 5 dermat back to back. And finally, just because of Anupama madam, the younger sister of Jayashree ma'am, helped us out. And she was here with us during a Women's Day. And she was able to resolve so many questions that I had, and she guided me towards Jayashree ma'am. And due to, now the world is like on your like hands, right? So online consultancy ma'am is providing for patients also. Though any of you, without any hesitation, have any skincare, just take an appointment prior and just get an online consultancy done. She is one of the best dermat, not just to flatter her, but truly I have felt, because I was given a so bad idea what my skin would be now. But I think I was able to resolve only within a 15 days. And the positive approach that she does with a patient is really marvelous. Thank you so much, ma'am. That's what I wanted to narrate you. And we were able to try to wind up all the question, and you answer it so nicely. Back to Priyal ma'am. Please take it forward. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, Arpita ma'am. Thank you so much, Jayashree ma'am, for being with us today. It was really fun to have this session with you. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Coming to an end of this event, I would like Dr. Sulabh Solanki, Associate Professor and Head of Department of B.N. Patel Institute of Paramedical and Science, Paramedical Division, to propose a vote of thanks on behalf of the Institute. Sir, can we please have you?
Yes, very good evening to all of you. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Okay. So, Honorable Sri Bhikhubai Patel sir, Dr. Arpita Arora ma'am, our valued invited expert for the live webinar, and dear students, I deem it great honor and privilege to propose a vote of thanks. First of all, I would like to express my sincere thanks to B.N. Patel Institute of Paramedical and Science and B.N. Patel College of Physiotherapy, Anand, and especially to our truly outstanding director, Dr. Arpita Arora ma'am, for the organization of this valuable expert talk. I also extend my thanks to Sri Bhikhubai Patel sir for the perfect support and guidance all the time. I am really running short of words to express my heartfelt thanks to the torchbearer of today's event, Dr. Jayashree Sarad ma'am, who, despite her busy schedule, has found time to grace this event. We are grateful to her for accepting our invitation, her valuable time, and sharing with us her knowledge and opinion during this live webinar. We are all enlightened by your great words, ma'am. I owe special gratitude to our faculty members for their valuable contribution and encouragement in all our efforts. Finally, I would like to take this opportunity to thank all the students and others who have joined this live talk. Without their may not be successful. Thanks a lot to one and all directly or indirectly involved in the talk. Thank you so much. So, I hand over to Priyal. You may continue. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, all of you who've attended, all the students, teachers, Arpita ma'am, Priyal sir, all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. I take this occurrence to thank the entire committee as well as the audience for representing their valuable time with us. I know it's not possible to thank everyone for such an appreciating involvement today. But again, I express my thanks for everybody. Thank you, everybody, and have a wonderful evening ahead.
Thank you. All right.